Hey guys, today I'll be checking out German worker rights that American wouldn't believe are real. Let's get into this.
Germany, workers get paid to stay home when they're sick, can't be fired without a
Really?
mountain of legal paperwork, and by law are forbidden
Oh,
from working on Sundays. And that's just the beginning. Because while Americans are
nice.
debating whether they deserve a single paid day off, German employees are protected by a system so thorough it sounds like fiction. These aren't perks
Yeah,
offered by generous companies, they're laws. And once you see what German workers take for granted every single day, you'll start wondering why the rest of the world hasn't caught up. The first right on this list alone would change everything most Americans think they know about work. In Germany, every employee is legally guaranteed a minimum of 20 paid vacation days per year.
that
That is
is
4
so
full weeks,
nice.
and it is the floor,
Yeah,
not the ceiling. Most companies actually offer between 25 and 30 days, and that is before you even
30?
count the public holidays piled on top. Depending
Oh
on
my
which German
gosh,
state you work in, you could be looking at 9 to 13 additional public holidays layered onto your already generous leave.
this
Compare
is
that to the United
crazy.
States, where there is no federal law requiring employers to give a single paid vacation day.
Nope.
Zero, not one. In America, paid time off is a
Gosh.
benefit, something companies offer to attract talent. Many workers, especially in hourly and service jobs, get nothing at all. In Germany, it is a basic human
Yeah.
right baked into federal law. Here is another detail that catches people off guard. German law actually requires that at least one block of your vacation be 12 consecutive working
12
days.
rest
The
days.
rule is meant to
That's
guarantee
awesome.
real, uninterrupted time away. The idea is that real rest does not happen in scattered long weekends. You need actual time away to recharge.
Yeah.
The system is built on the belief that vacation is not a reward for hard work. It is a necessary part of staying healthy and productive. And if
This
you
is
think
so
that is
true.
generous, wait until you hear what happens when a German worker gets sick. Here's where it gets wild. In Germany, if you fall ill, you don't have to drag yourself to the office pretending you're fine. You stay home, you recover, and your employer pays you 100% of your
Wow.
salary for the first 6 weeks. Not 70%, not half. Full pay.
That's awesome.
After
Oh
those
my
6 weeks, your
gosh.
health insurance kicks in and continues paying a significant portion of your salary for up to 78 weeks. And here's the part that really breaks American brains. If you get sick with something new, a completely different illness, the 6 week clock resets. You get another full 6 weeks of employer paid leave for each separate condition.
For
There is
real?
no annual cap on how many times this can happen. In the US, most workers dread calling in sick because they either don't have paid sick days or they are terrified
No.
of being seen as unreliable. In Germany,
Mm-hmm.
taking time off to recover isn't just accepted, it's expected. And no one looks at you sideways for doing it. But it gets
That's
even
nice.
better. Let us say you are on vacation, lying on a beach somewhere in Spain, and you catch a nasty
Sweet.
flu. In America, that is just bad luck. Your vacation is ruined, and those days are gone. In Germany,
Yeah.
those sick days do not count as vacation. As long as you get a doctor's note, your employer has to credit those lost vacation days back to you. You
For
read that
real?
right.
Oh
If
my
you are sick during
gosh.
your time off, you get those days returned because vacation is meant for rest and recovery, not
Supposed
suffering
to
through an
be.
illness. It is a
Mm-hmm.
concept that feels almost absurd to anyone outside of Germany, but to German workers, it is just common sense. Now let's talk about something that would
Oh my gosh. I can't believe this exists. Because where I live, you can only have 10 days paid time off a year, and does not include sick leave. So when you get sick and you still want to get paid, then you can just take that time off for your sick day. So you still get paid on the day you're absent. That's ridiculous. Very crazy. I can't believe that German have a lot of paid time, 20 to 30 days, and does not include holidays. That's awesome. I really wish that they do that in the US or anywhere, because I think every worker deserves that kind of benefits, I really hope that they make that as a law here, but I don't think so.
Send shockwaves through every American office. In Germany, your boss can't just walk up to your desk, hand you a box, and tell you to leave. Firing someone in Germany is one of the most regulated processes in the entire working world. The Protection Against Dismissal Act gives workers strong
Oh,
protection. It makes it
that's
incredibly difficult
cool.
for employers to terminate workers without solid documented reasons. If a company has more than 10 employees and the worker has been there longer than 6 months, termination has to be socially justified. That means the employer has to
Oh,
prove one of three things. The employee did something seriously wrong. The employee is
misconduct.
personally
Okay.
unable to perform the job, or there is a genuine business need that eliminates the position. And even then, the process is layered with requirements. The employer has to consider factors like the worker's age, how long they have worked there, whether they have a family to support, and even whether they have a disability.
This is
Try
so
doing that in
cool.
most American states, where employment is at will, meaning you can be let go for almost any reason at any time without warning. No explanation
Yes.
needed. No process required.
Mm-mm.
One morning, you are at your desk, and by lunch, you are clearing out your things. In Germany,
That's
that kind of system
horrible.
would be illegal. And even when a German employer does have legitimate grounds for termination, the notice periods are long. An employee who has been with a company for 2 years gets at least 1 month's notice. After 20 years, that notice period stretches to 7 months.
Oh,
The
what?
entire
Really?
system is designed around the idea that a job is not something that should disappear overnight. And there's a
Yeah.
reason firing someone is so hard. Because German workers have something most Americans have never even heard of, and it might be the most powerful labor right in Europe. It's called a works council, and it fundamentally changes the relationship
Ah.
between employees and management. In any German company with 5 or more permanent employees, workers have the legal right to elect a works council. This is not a union. It is
Oh, we
something
need
different
that.
entirely. A works council is an elected body of employees that has co-determination rights, meaning management literally cannot make certain decisions without consulting them first. Want to change the work schedule? The works council has to agree. Planning to install software that monitors
Man,
employee activity? You need the
this is a
works
good
council's
law.
approval. Thinking about laying off staff? You have to inform the works council before issuing a single termination letter. And if you skip this step, the termination is automatically void. It does not matter how
Oh,
justified the
that's
firing
nice.
was. If the works council was not consulted, the whole thing is invalid. For American companies entering the German market, this is usually the first culture shock. The idea that employees have a legal seat at the
Legal
decision-making
power.
table feels like stepping into a parallel universe. But in Germany, it has been the law for decades. And works council members themselves cannot be fired through ordinary termination. They are protected during their entire term and for a full year after it ends. Trying to
That's a
obstruct or
long time,
retaliate against
actually.
employees forming a works council is not just frowned upon in Germany. It is a criminal offense that can land an employer in jail.
They
Now
can go
let's
to
move to
jail?
something that affects every single Sunday in Germany. By law, most employees are banned from working on Sundays and public holidays.
That
This
is
is not a
nice. I
suggestion
want
or a
that.
cultural norm. It is federal law under the Working Time Act. The idea is that Sundays are reserved for rest, family, and personal time.
It
And the
is.
government protects that boundary with real legal force. There are exceptions for essential services like hospitals, police, and transportation. But even those workers must receive a replacement rest day soon afterward. At least
This is
15 Sundays
awesome.
per year must be kept completely free of work. No exceptions. In America,
Oh my gosh, this just makes me want to work in Germany. Because this is just awesome. They have like a lot of rights. Where is the freedom that America is talking about? Oh, this is crazy. And yeah, I think Sunday is for day off, for resting, not for working.
Sunday is just another workday for millions of people in retail, food service, and gig work. In Germany, the streets go
Yes.
quiet on Sundays. Most shops close. Supermarkets shut their doors. Even most gas station convenience stores operate on reduced hours.
Oh,
The pace of
really?
life slows down deliberately because the law says it should.
No
Visitors from the
Sunday work.
US
That's
often get caught
nice.
off guard the first time they try to grab groceries on a Sunday afternoon and find every store locked up tight. To Americans, it feels inconvenient. To Germans, it feels like freedom, a guaranteed day where work cannot reach you no matter what your boss wants. And the
Dang,
protections don't stop
that's
when the
nice.
workday ends. German law requires a minimum rest period of 11
Uh,
uninterrupted hours between shifts. If you clock out at 10 in
11?
the evening, your employer cannot legally ask you to start again before 9 the next morning. This is not a guideline employers try to follow. It is a
What the
strict legal
heck? This
mandate
is
designed to protect workers
cool.
from burnout and exhaustion. On top of that, the regular workday is capped at 8 hours, and while it can be extended to 10 hours in certain situations, that extra time has to be compensated with time off within a set period. The overall weekly maximum is 48 hours, and going beyond that is tightly regulated. In a country like the
That should be
United States,
illegal.
where hustle
Yeah.
culture glorifies 60-hour and 70-hour work weeks, Germany's approach
Yep.
feels almost radical. But the results speak for themselves. German workers are among the most productive in Europe while working fewer hours than most of their neighbors. Now let's talk about what
Nice.
happens when a German worker starts a family,
Parental leave.
because this is where the gap between Germany and America becomes almost impossible to believe. German parents are entitled to up to 3 years of parental leave per child.
What?
3 years. During that time, their
For
job
real?
is legally protected. The employer has to keep their position or an equivalent role available for when they
Oh
return.
my gosh.
Both mothers and fathers can take this leave, either together or separately, and they can even split it up,
This is so
saving a portion
nice.
of
What the
those
heck?
months for later years when the child is older. On top of that, the government pays a parental allowance during the first 12 to
14
14 months,
paid month.
covering roughly 65% of the parent's previous income. In the United States, the only federal guarantee is 12 weeks of unpaid leave under the Family and Medical Leave Act, and that only applies to certain
Oh,
employees at
terrible.
companies with 50 or more workers. Millions of American parents have no legal right to any leave at all. In
No.
Germany, the system is designed around the idea that raising a child should not cost you your career. And it does not end with parental leave. Pregnant workers in Germany are shielded by some of the strict protections in the world. Expectant mothers are entitled to 6 weeks of paid
6.
leave before the birth and 8 weeks after.
Okay, that's
That
nice. That's
extends to
really
12
nice.
weeks for premature or multiple births. During this entire period, it is illegal to fire a pregnant employee, and that protection
Yeah, that should
continues
be
for 4
illegal.
months after childbirth.
Here
Even
too.
getting government approval to terminate a pregnant worker is nearly impossible in practice. Employers also cannot assign pregnant workers to tasks that pose any risk to their
Oh.
health. If a doctor determines that the job itself is a danger, the worker can be placed on a full employment ban with continued pay. In America, pregnancy discrimination is technically illegal, but enforcement is inconsistent, and millions of women return to work within days of giving birth because they simply cannot afford not to. In
A
Germany, the
month.
system does not just
Yeah.
protect mothers on paper, it enforces that protection with real consequences. Here is one that quietly reshapes the entire work experience in Germany. Every employee has the legal right to receive a written employment contract detailing the exact terms of their job, their salary, working hours, notice
This is so
periods, and more.
interesting.
This is not just best practice, it is a legal requirement under German law. And when it comes to pay, the country enforces a national minimum wage that is heading toward 15 euros per hour. On top of that,
How much
employers
is
are
that in the
required to
US?
contribute to a comprehensive social insurance system covering health insurance, pension, unemployment insurance, long-term care,
Oh my
and
gosh, that's
accident
nice.
insurance. These are not optional benefits that vary from company to company. They are mandatory contributions split between the employer and the employee. The system ensures that every worker, regardless of their industry, has access to healthcare, retirement support, and a safety net if they lose their
That's
job.
a lot of
For Americans
benefits.
used to employer-dependent health insurance and 401k plans that may or may not exist, the German model can feel like it belongs to a different era entirely. And finally, there is a right that sounds
Extended
almost
burnout
too good to be
leave?
real.
There
German
is
workers
a
who are
thing
suffering from severe
like that?
work-related stress and burnout can take extended medical leave. Under the country's sick leave laws, an employee diagnosed with burnout can receive up to 78 weeks of paid leave to recover. The first 6 weeks
What?
are covered at full pay by the employer, and after that, health insurance continues paying a substantial portion. The
I need
concept
that
of burnout leave is not
leave.
treated as weakness or laziness. It is recognized as a legitimate medical condition that requires time and space to heal. In a country where the culture already emphasizes
This
boundaries
is
between
so
work and
shocking.
personal life, this policy feels like the natural extension of a system that genuinely values the human behind the employee.
Yeah.
And there you have it, 13 worker rights that are completely normal in Germany, but sound
Jeez.
like pure fantasy to most Americans. From 4 weeks of guaranteed vacation to 3 years of parental leave. From works councils with real legal power to a system that gives you your vacation days back when you get sick, Germany has built a labor framework that puts the worker first in ways that few other countries can match. If this opened your
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that those exist. Are they really for real? Like, I can't really believe it. Like, I've never heard of such burnout leave. And you can get 7 to 8 weeks leave. That is a lot. This just makes me want to move to Germany and just work there. That's awesome. That's really awesome. I'm still in shock and very impressed. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.